Be on alert. A significant severe weather outbreak is expected as we head into this afternoon and this evening across the upper Midwest and the Great Lakes. Also, a major cool down with a fall cold front moving through the Great Lakes and the Northeast later this week, and Hurricane Fiona spinning up across the Greater Antilles, where that's headed, and much more coming up in this weather forecast. Good Sunday morning, everybody. Welcome back to another Weather on the Go weather forecast where you get all your weather coverage. If you guys are new to the channel or have yet to subscribe, definitely hit the subscribe button down below and the notification bell to get all of my important weather forecast updates here on this channel. So looking here at the forecast this afternoon, the Storm Prediction Center has upgraded portions of southeastern Iowa, extreme northeastern Missouri, and west central Illinois to a level 3 enhanced risk of severe weather later on this afternoon and especially this evening across this area. This does include, again, southeastern Iowa, west central Illinois, and extreme northeastern Missouri here. We even have a level 2 of 5, a slight risk extending over to the southern Chicago suburbs, to the portions there of Indianapolis and all the way south into southeastern Illinois and back up there to central Iowa as well, including the Des Moines area later on today. Looking at the hazards out there, a 5 to 15%, a marginal to slight risk for 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts later on this afternoon across portions of Iowa, northeastern Missouri, much of central Illinois, into west central Indiana. We also do have a significant 30% hatched area for hail, for very large hail later on this afternoon and this evening. This hatched area with significant hail is across western Illinois, southeastern Iowa, and northeastern Missouri. These areas could see 2 inches or larger hailstones that could be larger than golf balls later on today, and also a 5% shading for tornadoes. We could have a few spin-up tornadoes today as well across those very same areas. Looking at the hazards here, looking at the severe thunderstorm risk category hazards here, we are at a level 3 enhanced risk, so we could see numerous severe storms possible today, and these storms will be more persistent and possibly widespread, and a few of these could also be pretty intense with, again, above 2-inch diameter hail, 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts, and perhaps a few tornadoes, so we'll be on the lookout for that. So kind of breaking down the setup for the severe weather outbreak today, we have a lot of moisture in place today. We got dew points that'll be rising well through the 60s and into the middle 70s in spots, especially as you get into southeastern Iowa and west central Illinois later on this afternoon. And this will be the fuel here for these thunderstorms. Instability or convective available potential energy, otherwise known as CAPE, is going to be building across this area, especially as you get into southern Iowa, western and northwestern Illinois. We'll be approaching 4,000 joules per kilogram later on this afternoon as we see the storm system move in here, and this is also going to coincide with a lot of shear. We have a lot of deep layer shear here in the environment. We got shear values over 50 knots, so this is going to coincide with the instability and all that moisture to produce some organized severe weather in that enhanced and slight risk zone later on this afternoon. So let's time this out for you guys using the composite reflectivity, the HRRR model, the best model we got here for the short term, and we see some scattered showers and storms across southern Minnesota, northern Iowa here later on this afternoon, say around 2-3 o'clock. But really, as we get in towards the very late afternoon, toward the dinner time frame, after about 4 o'clock through about 6 o'clock, we'll start to see initiation of supercell thunderstorms across eastern Iowa, and these could be hailers. We could be seeing some hail that could be over 2 inches in diameter, above golf ball size. Also some spin-up tornadoes with these initial storms, and the damaging downburst winds that could be up to around 70 miles per hour. But as we start to move farther into the evening hours towards the 8-9 o'clock time frame, this will start to kind of organize more into a line of storms, or what we call an MCS, a mesoscale convective system, and this is going to propagate its way to the east-southeast across the instability gradient as we move into central Illinois, southeastern Iowa, and extreme northeastern Missouri through the heart of that enhanced risk zone, and we could see more of a damaging wind threat persist as we head well into the evening hours with winds well in excess of 60 miles per hour, perhaps up to around 70 miles per hour here from northern Illinois back towards northeastern Missouri across these areas like Peoria, portions here of the Davenport Quad Cities, and Kirksville, Missouri, you do need to be on high alert. And then as this kind of moves through the overnight hours, this will turn more into a heavy rain threat as it pushes towards Indiana, but we still could have some sporadic damaging winds, some large hail, and a couple of brief tornado spin-ups still as we head well into the overnight hours. And then as we get towards Monday morning, we'll start to clear out the severe weather, the heavy rainfall, and we'll start to see kind of some lingering shower and storm activity down toward the Louisville area, Evansville, Indiana, and southeastern Illinois here with the remnants of that activity for your Monday morning. Looking at the rainfall totals out here with this system, some pretty appreciable rainfall amounts, around half an inch to an inch and a half. Some spots could even see upwards of 2 inches here if you have heavy enough storms, and also kind of some back building with this system. So that will be something to watch. The heaviest rain looks to fall across southeastern Iowa and central Illinois here for places like Peoria, Bloomington, Normal, all the way down here to portions of Mount Vernon, and then all the way to the back to the west toward the Davenport, Quad Cities, and Des Moines, Iowa. That's where the heart of this system looks to reside. And that's why the Weather Prediction Center did put out a marginal to a slight risk for excessive rainfall, and a marginal to slight risk of flash flooding across this area later on today. With that excessive rainfall, we definitely could have some rainfall rates over an inch an hour, so definitely a lot of ponding on the roadways as we get later on today. But as we move here through the rest of this weekend and into early next week, the reason why we're seeing all this active weather is we got a massive upper level trough, a positively tilted trough across the west coast, and a lot of these mid-level disturbances rounding this ridge. We got a strong ridge of high pressure across the southern plains, and where we got the active jet stream right overhead, that's where we're seeing that severe weather, and that will continue to push eastward on your Monday. And as we get into that Monday time frame, that trough will still be off the west coast, but we'll still have mid-level disturbances rounding this ridge. And we have yet again another marginal risk of severe weather on your Monday across portions of New England, including New York State, Vermont, parts of New Hampshire, western Massachusetts, western Connecticut, much of Pennsylvania, and eastern portions of Ohio. This includes the Pittsburgh area, getting up toward Binghamton, New York City, or maybe just to the north of New York City, and even places into northern New Jersey. Definitely a possibility. And then a small marginal risk across northeastern North Dakota and extreme northwestern Minnesota, with another system moving in across the southern Canadian prairies as we head into your Monday tomorrow. And again, as we get toward the middle of the week, we're going to see some changes here. We're going to have another strong trough develop across southern and southeastern Canada, and where these two, this trough and the ridge come together, we're going to have a very strong kind of difluent air in the jet stream here, where they kind of come together. And this is going to produce a strong fall cold front that will, move to the southeast as we head through late in the week. And you can see that here with the blue color starting to show up here on the Wednesday time frame. Here we got the ridge to the south, we got the trough to the west, and another trough developing across the southeastern Canadian prairies. This will continue to propagate across the New England region and the Great Lakes later on this week into your Thursday and Friday time frame for September 22nd and 23rd. And this is going to bring some fall-like temperatures across much of this area as well. So looking at your Wednesday here, September 21st, we got all of the heat down to the south, like what I was saying here with that ridge. We got 100s into places like Oklahoma, North Texas, Arkansas. But to the north, we have a lot of cooler air. High temperatures will be in the upper 50s, if not low 60s for many places into the Dakotas, much of Montana, Wyoming, all the way over into the northern Minnesota region. Even the north woods of Wisconsin here could be struggling to reach 70 on your Wednesday. But look at these overnight lows Wednesday night here, projected to be in the upper 30s across portions of North Dakota, northeastern Montana, and northern Minnesota as we head into Wednesday night. And then again, we have a lot of cool air starting to drop farther south towards northern Illinois, towards Iowa, Nebraska, and even portions of New England as we head into the official first start of fall on Thursday, September 22nd, with widespread upper 50s to mid 60s across that area, where much of the south and the southeast will be under those 90s, with that ridge kind of getting suppressed to the south as we head towards the first day of fall there on Thursday, September 22nd. And the official Climate Prediction Center forecast for that, Friday 23rd time frame through really the end of the month here through Tuesday the 27th, we have above normal temperatures favored across the west and the south, especially across Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma and portions there of Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, and then across portions there of Washington, Oregon, and California here. But with that trough across New England and the Great Lakes, near normal to even below normal temperatures can be favored, especially across the New England states as we get into that last week in September. And with that kind of trough digging down and we got a ridge building in and kind of getting suppressed, we're not going to really truly have a lot of ingredients coming together for a major weather system. So we're going to see kind of drier than normal conditions across the Pacific Northwest and the deep south, drier than normal. We could have a little zone of rain here into portions of New Mexico and southern Colorado, but largely drier than normal to near normal precipitation across the majority of the United States toward that last week in September. But even as we get towards that first day in October, as we turn the page to October 1st here shortly, we're going to have another ridge become reestablished across the West Coast and the Rockies, and this will bring much above normal temperatures for places like Oregon, Washington, Nevada, Northern California, Western Idaho here, and much of the Rocky Mountain states, and even down towards Texas here as we get in towards the first week or so of October. And again, with this pattern, with a ridge building in, you have a lot of sinking air, a lot more sunshine, a lot of drier air, and that's why we have drier than normal conditions across much of the United States, especially from the Pacific Northwest, the northern plains, and eastward toward the Great Lakes. With some tropical influence, we could have above normal rainfall across the Virginia areas, Carolinas, down into Georgia there, and North Florida. We'll have to wait and see how that pans out here later on this month. But definitely as we get towards the end of the month, we're going to see that ridge start to build with the return flow across the Rockies. We have another massive trough starting to dig in just south of the Aleutian Islands into the Northeast Pacific, and this is going to, amplify this ridge even further. The stronger this trough gets, the stronger the ridge will get across the western United States here. They're kind of working in tandem with each other, and as we move into that time frame, you can see the jet stream is well up to the north across British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan here. And really that ridge takes over across the western U.S., but we'll have to watch another massive storm system potentially across the northeastern Pacific area that could be on the inroads to the Pacific Northwest in short order as we turn the page to early October. So that will be something to watch as we get into that time frame. Looking at the tropics, we got a major system to talk about. We got Tropical Storm Fiona right now spinning just to the south and east of the Puerto Rico island there. And as we look at the satellite imagery, pretty impressive. We got those taller thunderstorm tops here in the whites and purples there, around 50, 60,000 feet or higher across these areas. And looking at the track of this, luckily is going to stay away from the mainland U.S., but it's going to curl up just to the east of the Bahamas here, maybe scraping by the eastern Bahamas and really moving up toward Bermuda. I'm actually concerned more about Bermuda right now, and actually here right now we do have hurricane warnings across portions of Puerto Rico, the eastern portions of the Dominican Republic, even some tropical storm warnings here. It looks to strengthen to a hurricane later on today and remain at hurricane status through the majority of the week, if not into major hurricane status as we get towards the middle and late portion of the week. We got a lot of fuel for this thing. We got low wind shear. We got well above normal water temperatures here in the oranges and even the reds. These water temperatures are 80 to 85 or higher, maybe up to upwards of 88 degrees Fahrenheit. So definitely a lot of waters to take advantage of with this system, a very favorable environment. And looking at the intensity with Fiona, it looks to become a Category 1, like I said, later today, but then strengthen probably to a Category 3 at its peak as we head through the next 72 to 96 hours here, as we head through the next few days as it moves up toward the Bahamas. This could become a Category 3 major hurricane, Fiona, as we get into that time frame. So timing this out for you guys, we have a 995 millibar low crossing into portions of Puerto Rico as we head here later on this afternoon, and then getting up here with some of this tropical storm force and even hurricane force winds getting closer to eastern portions of the Dominican Republic. As we move into early next week in your Tuesday time frame, this is going to rapidly deepen to a 958 millibar low as it crosses into the far eastern portions of the Bahamas and over the open waters there of the western Atlantic. And as we get towards late week, guys, look at the icon model showing a 939 millibar low pressure center. That would be a Category 3, possibly a Category 4 hurricane. So that is something to watch for Bermuda as we get towards late next week. I think Bermuda could be in the crosshairs of a significant hurricane later on this week. And looking at the waves and the rough surf out there, we got some waves here just to the east of the Dominican Republic and between Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic there. As we get into early week, wave heights around 20 feet. But as this really strengthens here towards the eastern Bahamas and over the open waters there of the western Atlantic towards midweek, Wednesday, September 21st, wave heights could be approaching 30 feet. And this really deepens here and spreads out with a lot of rough surf across the coastal Carolinas, coastal Virginia here, with wave heights that could be anywhere from 5 to 15 feet across those areas. But closer to the center here, we could have wave heights approaching 40 feet, guys, across the western Atlantic. So this just tells you how significant this hurricane looks to become later on this week. And it looks like also here the rain path with this is going to kind of move over the open water, so not too terribly concerned about any rainfall, significant rainfall at that, across the east coast of the United States. But we're watching for a significant rainmaker. If you live in Puerto Rico, probably going to be a lot of landslides, mudslides, even across the eastern Dominican Republic. We could be expecting rainfall, especially on the island there of Puerto Rico, upwards of 6 to 15 inches. We could locally have 15 inches of rain across that island there. A lot of flash flooding is possible in the Puerto Rico area. So I definitely feel for you folks down there. Hopefully everybody stays safe. But we also are watching something as well. Across the eastern Pacific, we have Tropical Storm Madeline that has formed here. We did have Lester that moved on to land here in the western Mexico areas. We now have Madeline that did form, and this is moving across the eastern Pacific Ocean over the open waters. And you can see kind of a slightly disorganized right now. It's not really truly going to become that big of a system. I think it's going to remain a tropical storm, and that's what the National Hurricane Center does think. It's going to kind of curl to the west before it ever reaches the Baja of California. However, the southern Baja of California could potentially still see some effects of this with some rough surf and potentially some tropical storm force winds getting close by the Monday evening and Tuesday evening time frame before it kind of curls westward over the open waters again of the eastern Pacific Ocean. So looking here at the intensity with Madeline here, Tropical Storm Madeline, like I said, not really that big of a system. It's going to remain tropical storm force type of system through the next 48 to 60 hours here through really the next couple of days. And really as we get in towards the middle of the week, it's going to drop back to kind of a post-tropical depression type of stage as we get into that time frame. So timing this out, a 999 millibar low for Madeline later on this afternoon, just to the west of the Mexico coast and south of the Baja of California. And then as we get into Monday here, we're going to see a 996 millibar low of formidable tropical storm still active across the eastern Pacific later on here on your Monday before it curls back to the west and drops back to kind of post-tropical depression status with a 1005 millibar low. And I did show you we did have a couple areas of interest here with a 20-30% chance of development across the eastern Pacific behind that, and that could be the next named system potentially as a tropical depression or tropical storm with a 1008 millibar low potentially developing as soon as Wednesday, September 21st across those areas. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Definitely appreciate it. Remember to hit the like button down below and leave any comments, questions, and concerns for me down below as well. I'll get to those later on today. And subscribe, guys. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much for all the new subscribers out there and helping to grow this community and grow this channel. Everybody stay safe from the severe weather and Hurricane Fiona out there. I hope everybody stays safe. Have a great rest of your weekend, and I'll see you all in the next video.